it would be a different situation if what the Congress is talking about with, like, we're going to sell this federal land off to hedge funds, which, I mean, like, I know they say developers, dude, it's hedge funds. It's going to be hedge funds. It's going to be international bankers. And before you know it, the U.S. is going to be Gaza in like 50 years. Okay, look, let's be clear here. If they were talking about something like, hey, we have a homelessness problem in the U.S., people don't have a home to go to. We're not talking about a house. Be very clear about this one. We're talking about a home. Home meaning a place to put a house. Okay, some place to go. Homelessness is not the same thing as dwellinglessness. Okay, you can build a house. This has been proven. I mean, look at the people in Portland that are building shacks, like full-on shacks out on the street. So you can build a place. You just have to have a place in which to build your life. Well, so if they were saying, okay, hey, listen, we have all this so-called federal land, which they shouldn't be having, by the way. Federal land is not supposed to be a thing. That's, I get the feeling that there's a lot of folks who don't know that, but like that's not supposed to be a thing. They're not supposed to be owning large swaths of land that belongs to the American people. Be that as it may, if they were saying, hey, here's whatever, 10, 20, 40 acre sections, lots. We're going to divide these up, have easements going to all of them, and people can move there, or people, if you're an American, a natural born American citizen, prior to like maybe 2008, okay, so taking the anchor baby thing out of this, here's, you can have this, one of these pieces of land, and of course it's tax-free as long as it's in your name. You can't sell it to a foreign company. It's not an investment property, boomers. You have to actually do something with it. You have to put a house on it. You have to be in the process of doing something with said land, and then like live there. It's not something you can just have as a part of another one of your basket of stupid assets, the boomer nonsense. In fact, you could almost put an age cap on that, by the way, too. I'm not exactly a big fan of age caps, but I mean, I would be open to the idea, like, hey, because these people, it's not like they already own a lot of stuff. So it's like, this is time to, let other people own property in the country that you've told them is theirs. You told them this is their country. Well, they should be owning property in their own country, right? Should they not? Well, so you can't divide the land up anymore, right? So no putting a bunch of multi-family dwellings, no apartment complexes, none of this nonsense. Like, if we were talking about that, if we were having that kind of discussion, and it's tax-free, you can have it forever, it can never be seized for any reason whatsoever, even by the federal government, even for nothing, no reason at all, not even criminal activity. They can't seize the property. You always own it forever. It's yours. In other words, true property ownership, kind of what the country was founded on, the ideal behind that. If we were having that discussion, now that would be interesting. Instead, what they're saying is, we want to sell this off to some developers who are going to develop postage stamp lots that are unusable. You have to have a job to live there because you won't be able to be self-sufficient or self-sustaining. You won't be on a well. You'll be on a public water system of some kind. You'll have all of the infrastructure will be designed around you having to constantly work to live there, as opposed to, so in other words, instead of you owning the land and then using the land to live, the land is using you to live. And of course they'll all have HOAs, right? I mean, they're not going to create neighborhoods with no HOAs. Oh no, HOA is just a private tax. All right, it's like we have the public tax, which is the county. The HOA is the private tax. It's, you understand? Like, that's the thing. So no, I mean, I would not support any of that. I think that's a terrible idea to do that. And of course, who's going to finance all of that? Well, we already know who's going to finance all of that, right? The bankers are going to print a bunch of fake dollars out of nothing to buy all this up in the name of the developers, which means that the bankers pretty much own all of it. And before you know it, I mean, like I said, before you know it, the U.S. is Gaza. Okay, that's. You kind of get it. Are you starting to see how that play works out? You keep lending. You lend a bunch of fake money on real assets, and then you, by proxy, own the real assets because they owe you money. And of course, it's a wasting currency, so you have to work progressively harder to pay back all these ridiculous loans with interest, and that's where the problem of usury comes in, right? So this is just how this kind of thing works. And so, no, I would learn something from that, and I would strongly caution anybody out there, especially all the conservatives and the right wing weirdos and the losertardians, before you guys go off half cocked talking about private property. Stop. Whose private property? Because it's not going to be the people that live in those little postage stamp lots and those cheap houses built by a bunch of illegals that are going to be falling apart in 5 years. It's not that those aren't going to be the property owners. The property owners are going to be the hedge funds, the banks, and whoever conjured fake dollars out of nothing to buy it all up. And of course, the minerals aren't going to be owned by the people there. The minerals are going to be owned by whoever, the mineral rights are going to transfer to the developer, which means he's going to then sell them to the bankers. Do you understand how this play works? So no, if we were talking about taking federal land and then giving it back to American citizens, and then telling them, this is your land, you're a steward of it. You can do whatever that which you want with this property, but you have to do something with it, and you can't just call it an investment property. It's there's no more boomerism. No, we're not allowing boomerism. You have to actually do something with it. You have to fence it. You have to put a house on it. You have to farm it. You have to do something active with it. And you can't sell it to a foreign country or any corporation or anything like that, but it can't be then taken away from you. If we were, like I said, if we were having that discussion, that would be one thing, but we're not.